Yeah, I mean, here you're living in a hotel every night of the week for the first year, 18 months. You're in the pickup truck by yourself and putting on the miles and calling as many people as you can every day. And there's a few days you wonder what the heck am I doing, you know?
Hello and welcome to RockTalk with Finlay podcast. I'm your host Charlie, and today with me I have Phil Berresford, our sales director for North America, and our dealer Keith McCann from Finlay Eastern. How's it going, gents?
Going pretty good, buddy.
Good to be here, Charlie.
Good stuff. So we're currently in Conexpo, so it's nice to come out and put names to faces from my point of view, Keith. It's been a good week, I would say, for us. You guys are busy on the stand with the J1280 here and the 883 here. What does it mean, Keith, these big shows like Conexpo for your businesses such as your own, Finlay Eastern?
Well, I suppose with Conexpo being on every 3 years, it's not an annual event, so it kind of gains a bit of extra momentum with our customers, with our manufacturing partners, and basically everybody involved. So what it does for us, it allows us to meet our manufacturer partners, meet our customers. People also use this as an opportunity to come out and look at new products. So it's always important for us anyway to make sure that the people that we work with are able to get the new equipment, the latest technology, and basically reconnect where sometimes you don't get that opportunity to do that.
And Keith, you've been at it for a while now, right? I mean, from Finlay and on the dealership side, so you probably got a lot of Conexpos under your belt.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think
what was your first? When was your first one? Do you think?
1999, I believe.
Probably seen a lot of changes along the way. I mean, at that time, that was screens only with Finlay, right?
Yeah, and not only that, but wheel plants as well. So we hadn't seen the track evolution was just coming along at that time.
Oh yeah, right.
So
right.
It was sort of the early 2000s before that really took off. But yeah.
For I guess for those of you who don't know, Keith McCann, you spent how many years actually at Finlay at the factory before you transitioned to a dealer?
Yeah, so I guess I was fortunate enough to work at the factory, so saw a lot of changes. I started with Finlay in 1995. So yeah, a lot of different outlooks on the business and how it's changed. But yeah, overall, it's hey, you can see the success that we've had over the last 30 years that I was there.
Well, you were here in such like a crucial time in Finlay's journey, right? So like, I mean, you were here, well, you just said it, you know, the transition into tracks, the transitions into crushers.
Yep.
And you kind of led the way with Finlay North America. You spearheaded a lot of that. A lot of the Finlay dealer network today is kind of what you pieced together in your time here, right?
Yeah, we did the same job that you're doing for I think 15 years, from 2002 to the end of 2017 when I left the Finlay business to set up our dealership. So yeah, the big thing I would say is, look, I was fortunate to come from near to the factory, right? So my friend worked there. You kind of become embedded and ingrained in the business. You get passion. You want to make sure that everybody there's doing well. You get creating jobs, creating opportunities, and we were all those things we're able to do.
You come, Keith, from Strabane and Tyrone. So our home is Oma, County Tyrone. How did you transition then from? Well, tell us a bit about, I suppose, your upbringing.
Yeah, a lot of the guys in North America, they're definitely not going to know, the significance of coming from Strabane and what that means, and kind of, where you came from in your background, right?
No, that's right. That's right. Yeah, here, look, most people in Ireland, especially out in the rural areas, are farmers, so we were no exception. So yeah, beef and sheep farmers growing up, and you live a good hard life that way. You learn the ropes, so to speak. So from an early age, you're out working, you're hands on. You're making things happen, and yeah, it's here. It's kind of, you become accustomed to the rock, the dirt, and you know how to work with it. So it's an easy transition into the crushing and screening industry from that standpoint. But you know, growing up on the farm, you learn all the hard work side of it. I went and studied engineering, and whenever I finished college, then like I say, I got an opportunity to start with Finlay, and that was 1995. So yeah, I also got the opportunity to come to America in 1995 as well. So,
But also that time, whenever you were probably graduating university, I would say, you know, it's kind of cool. I was talking to somebody today, and we made kind of the comparison, right? So in Ireland, where these machines are made, for those of you who don't know, that county is similar to like Detroit for the auto world.
that's right.
So it's like County Tyrone, right?
Yeah,
That's the Detroit of crushing and screening.
yeah,
And when you guys were coming up, Keith, well, when you were coming up, I imagine from what I've heard from the stories, unemployment was kind of high.
yeah.
Maybe that's an understatement of where you were, right?
Oh no,
And a lot of people kind of gravitated towards this industry. It provided a lot for you guys, right?
yeah. I mean, there wasn't too many other job opportunities if you weren't from a farming background, or you weren't involved in farming. So the crushing and screening industries has provided a lot of opportunities for jobs for local people that weren't there before. And you know, you touched on the fact of, you know, County Tyrone being synonymous. I mean, you had Finlay, who was started in 1958 by John Finlay, and then, you know, some of the people that started Power Screen, you know, they were involved with Finlay at the beginning. So you kind of had the two biggest mobile crushing screening companies today, you know, within a 20-30 mile radius of each other.
Mm.
And then with Terex acquiring both businesses in 1999, I think it was, you know, it's kind of gone on from strength to strength from there.
So you come out of university, as you guys call it, college, university.
Yeah.
So you come out of, I'm going to say college, right? We're going to keep this North American.
Uni.
Or uni, is that what you guys call it? All right.
What do you?
So you come out of uni, and you go to work for Finlay,
Yeah,
and that's pre-Terex acquisition, right? Or
correct.
yeah,
That's right.
so you were there. Tell us about that. You know, your first, your beginnings actually at Finlay. What were you doing?
Yeah, so I mean, like I say, some of my friends had worked at Finlay, and one of my friends in particular, he was actually working in America, in Detroit, where Finlay used to be based out of,
Okay.
Milford, Michigan. So back then, so I'd went over to visit them, and I ended up meeting Kieran Haggerty when he was over for a year-end trip, and got introduced to him, and he was the one that called me up and offered me a job at the end of it. So I was fortunate, and yeah, 30 years later, here we are.
Still going strong.
Absolutely.
So hold up. So your first job was actually at the factory.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got that job from talking to your buddy that spent a little bit of time over here in North America.
Yeah, well, I was actually over on a vacation, so
Oh, okay.
yeah,
I got you.
I ended up meeting Kieran while I was on vacation.
Over here.
Yeah, in America. And
Okay.
I went back home for Christmas. Kieran called me up and offered me a position.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, so here we go.
So you go in your first position was,
It was he hired me to go to work for a startup dealer in New Jersey.
so you came straight to America.
Yeah, so after about a month, back then you were sort of brought in. They sort of figured out what you were good at, you know,
Right.
put you out in the factory floor, put you out in the hydraulic piping shop, so you kind of get some hands on, and
See what you gravitate towards. Yeah.
and basically filter out who was going to make it or not make it, you know, because if you didn't stick out that couple of weeks, you weren't going to work, you know.
But these are your paces, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what, from coming from County Tyrone to where you are now in America, what that entails setting up the dealership, Finlay Eastern? What was that process like?
Well, I suppose, I was fortunate because I had the sales director's role in North America, so it was kind of a practice what you preach approach, right? So, for many years we told our dealers, hey, if you do X, Y, Z, these are the results you're going to get, or hopefully expect to get. So for me, it was just putting what I was talking for so many years into reality, you know.
And at that time too, whenever you came over, so how long were you were with Finlay? For a month or two before you came to the States? Yeah. So you went from, farm to university to Finlay for a month or two, straight over to the States.
Correct.
I would imagine your learning curve, I mean, it's sink or swim at that point. I mean, that's before, it's got to be just a ton of trial and error, because at that time, I mean, today we have the benefit of looking back on all the data that we have, all the information that we have that we know now, but you guys were kind of the pioneers of all that. So there's probably a lot of trial and error and a lot of,
right? I mean, the crushing and screening world didn't exist back then like it does today. You know, it was more, you had to convince somebody to buy a screening plant, and that's really what we were doing then. You're trying to show people, hey, that pile of material, if you do this, then we're going to give you these two products that you're going to make some money off. So yeah, it was definitely a much harder sell than it is today, because in today's market, it's rental driven. The demand is out there. It's now starting to become a mature industry. So yeah, whereas before it was more stationary plants were the norm, and the mobile stuff was more difficult to get people to jump on board.
You were like an educator then when you first started selling machines, basically.
Was there any kind of culture shock during the move? I mean, you come over to America. Did you like it at first? Did you just jump right in and you wanted to stay, or?
Oh no, you liked it at first. Yeah, everything that you seen in the movies you were looking at every day. So there you go.
Chips and fries, tomatoes and mangoes.
Is that what we're known for?
Just a different way of saying things from here to over there.
That's funny, man.
And your territory that you currently cover, in terms of the Finlay machines,
yeah.
What are you saying? What's your best sellers?
So we're now, I suppose, the southeastern states. We're in multiple states. The biggest products for us that we would move would be impactors and our 883 skeleton screens. Well, we do probably a fairly decent mix of everything. It's just we've got high population cities that we work in, where the recycle's predominant, and then on top of that, you got the rock, extremely large rock quarries up in Georgia, Carolinas. So you get a wide variety of applications and machine opportunities, and then mix that up with sand and gravel. So it's very, very, very diverse.
So I just want to go back real quick, right?
Yeah.
So you come over, you're brand new to America. At that time, wheeled plants. Probably hanger screens mostly, right? Like
that's right.
90s, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're doing that. You lead the transition to the track market. You lead the transition to the crushing market, right? With the intro, the J1175. I imagine, there was a brief period there where you just seen an explosion of activity, an explosion of demand, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think from 2002, 2003 up to 2008 when we had the economic crash. It was just growth was phenomenal, and also not only the growth within our business or within Terex's business, but just in general in the market, how many more people embrace the track crushing, embrace the track screening, and really that transition from wheels to tracks, and then the introduction of the crushers just skyrocketed. It was a big stuff.
2005 for Finlay with the
J1175. Yeah. And there's that machine again. Some of the products looking back, I mean, 2001 we brought out the 683, and here 25 years later it's the same machine basically. There's been no revamps done to it, so yeah, shame. And then the J1175. Been a few revamps, but nothing major. Just still, testament to the engineering folks, and how good a design those two products in particular were.
Shout out to the guys in the factory back home then.
100%.
Yeah, doing a good enough job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So then you seen like an explosion of demand, right?
Yeah.
You probably seen an explosion in setting up dealers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you set up a pretty vast dealer network. You know, Finlay came a long way during your tenure. So then you get the decision, or you get the idea, hey, I like what I'm doing. I love the Finlay brand, but I want a little more. Tell me about the transition. I mean, that's another leap of faith.
Yeah.
From going from Finlay, a steady paycheck, you know, healthcare, you know, kind of a made man, and then going into, hey, I'm going to risk it all and go into business for myself. I mean, that's not an easy decision.
No, here, look, I think it's like everybody, when you do something, you think about it, you get to a point where it becomes, okay, if I don't do it, I'm going to regret it. And that's it, plain and simple, you know. If I didn't do it, I would have kicked myself forever, you know. So I understood the business. Like I say, it was a practice what you preach approach,
Right.
you know. And you just step by step from there. And also, I mean, I knew the people in the brand, I knew the brand, the products intimately. So, yeah, it wasn't as hard for me as it may be for some others.
Can you imagine doing that, Phil?
Oh, yeah. No, it's just insane, right?
In your current position now with
Yeah, no, I can't imagine doing that. I don't know if I'd have the tenacity to do it at this point, because I did that once, not with a dealership, but with a different model. And like I said, you know, when you don't have that guaranteed paycheck coming in, it can make life stressful. I mean, one thing that goes wrong and, you know, that's your month, that's your year.
Yeah.
Even knowing what you know, I can imagine it was pretty tough getting started, right?
Yeah, I mean, here, you're living in a hotel every night of the week for the first year, 18 months. You're in the pickup truck by yourself and putting on the miles and calling as many people as you can every day. And there's a few days you wonder, what the heck am I doing, you know? It's lonely, so it was.
But I'm curious, what was your first transaction as Finlay Eastern? What was the first machine that you sold?
A100 RS.
An I-100 RS, yeah?
Yeah.
And that was probably a pretty big celebration, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think we also, at this, around the exact same time, we got a 4-machine rental, and that was for, you know, I think 5-6 months it lasted. So, I mean, that was another, big milestone there to get started.
Did it take you a little bit to get that first sale, or did it happen pretty quick?
No, I think it was about, give or take, 6 months into it.
Okay, yeah.
Sure.
to celebrate the wins, you have to celebrate successes,
right? Yeah.
Phil, on that note,
Mm-hmm.
does that bring us to a certain topic that we wanted to cover today with Keith?
Yeah, no. So look, I mean, this is a pretty cool thing. So, you know, Keith, you came from, we just heard your story, right? What year was that? Just to put this into perspective for everyone out there listening.
So I started the company in October of 2017, and I left Finlay just the following month. So I guess November, December, so 2017, yeah.
9 years ago, right? Am I doing that math right? 9 years ago? Yeah.
It'll be 9 years this year.
So in 9 years' time, and there was already some people, some of our dealer network, you know, was already established at that point. And we have some big companies that sell Finlay equipment in North America. I mean, the likes of Komatsu factory-owned stores, some very large dealerships that sell our gear. And this is the first year, Keith, you surpassed everybody. And in 2025, you took the title of the Dealer of the Year. So not only with just sales, but I mean, your rental fleet surpassed, I think, everybody in North America last year. Your revenue passed everybody in North America last year. Your parts performance passed everybody in North America last year. So that's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit shocking, to be honest, you
Right?
know? Yeah.
That's some achievement, man.
Look, it's a testament to the team of people that we've put together. You know, that's here. There's always two pieces, right? It's people and products.
Right.
You know, everything else is irrelevant. So whether it's if you've great people and bad products, you're not going to succeed, and vice versa. You got bad product, great people. It's always going to be a struggle. So hats off to the team. You know, that for me, that's the most, I guess, satisfying piece of it all. That everybody's able to pull this together. So yeah, been great.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Keith, from personal life side of things, right? Outside of crushing and screening, who's the man behind the business? What do you enjoy when you're not selling crushers or screeners?
I used to play some rugby, so yeah, watching some rugby matches. Big time Liverpool fan.
Yeah.
So, yeah, gotta get my Liverpool fix every week.
Well, I'm a gooner.
Oh, here we go.
And I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Soccer. Soccer.
All right.
For everybody out there, Arsenal are the Gunners.
Yes. The clarification. Bit of rugby, bit of soccer.
Bit of rugby, bit of soccer. Yeah,
That's fun.
Yeah.
Very good. And tell me, part of the podcast, right, Keith, is when we have a guest, they leave a question for the next guest. So the question that was left for you from our previous guest was, what's your proudest achievement within this industry or for Finlay?
It's a good one.
But I think time might be required for that one.
Yeah, well, look here. So I think for me, it's proudest, obviously, right, from a personal present day is the success of the business, right, and the people that are involved in it. Going back, it's probably been able to and this may sound a bit cheesy, but getting the opportunity to work with Finlay, the people that I've met there, some of my best friends to this day, and we've had experiences that you couldn't write down in a book, so that's probably overall been the two highlights for me for sure.
And it's got to be pretty cool too. I mean, being the number one dealer of the year in North America and moving, the kind of iron that you move, it's almost like a double reward. I mean, not only are you providing for your family, but you're keeping the wheels turning back home, right?
Yeah.
So that's got to be a pretty proud feeling, I'd imagine.
Oh yeah, no, look here, anything for the community back at home is always something that you feel proud of if you can contribute to that in any way. Absolutely. And here, look, the other thing is, the customers we've got, the friendships you've got with those guys, and just the relationships that you build in this industry. It's like you're in the trenches. It's not an easy job that anybody's doing. It's hot, it's dusty, it's noisy. But at the end of the day, the satisfaction comes when, you get repeat business and you get a customer that goes, good job, we didn't think that was going to work. So, yeah.
Very good. Phil, anything else from you?
Nothing on my end, guys.
I'm good, man.
Good.
Thanks very much, Keith, for
joining. Hold on. Does Keith leave a question now?
I get Keith's question outside of the recording, so
okay.
I have it down in my notes, so he gives it then.
I gotcha.
So, and you don't know who the next guest is, which is the beauty of it.
Sounds good.
All right.
Okay.
Keith, thank you very much.
All right.
Very
Thanks,
good.
Charlie.
Thanks, guys. See everybody. Bye.
Yeah.